Hi everyone, Coach Jesse G here for another episode of Let's Talk About the HSC. So here we are, we've made it to the other side of graduation and we've just got one more challenge to take on, one more challenge to conquer, and then we are at the top of Mount HSC. All of those rewards, feelings, benefits, options, opportunities that await us at the top of Mount HSC are available. We've just got to get through one more challenge, and then all of those ideas at the top of Mount HSC will be there waiting for us. Now, how do we finish the HSC strong? How do we finish 13 years of school to the best of our ability? On the other side of graduation, we often find that students are possibly overwhelmed with the amount of work that needs to be done leading into these 3 weeks. Remember, these final HSC exams do make up 50% of your final result. So that can be overwhelming, especially if we haven't done as much work as we could have between trials and the end of graduation. Some students might be fairly unmotivated. They know the work that they need to be doing, but they just don't have the motivation because 3 weeks away still feels like a long time. The sun is out. We can go to the beach. The finals football is on. There's lots of distractions available. I know I need to study, but I just haven't got that motivation. And for others who are in the zone already of applying themselves and training hard, there are some things that we can be doing to make sure that each day that we get closer to those exams, we're getting more and more ready for the exam room conditions. We want to make sure for all categories of students, no matter where you are, that you are making the most of every study session so that you can still do the other things that are available to you in this really important time in your life. You should still be able to do some socializing across this next 3 weeks. You should still have time for exercise and a bit of relaxation time. But if we're making the most out of every study session, that is what creates the opportunity to have that balanced approach. And a balanced approach is important. We don't want to burn out. So here are my top tips to ensure that you can bring it home strong and make sure that you do walk out of that last exam room knowing that you did give these final weeks everything that you had. So top tip number 1, and something that I say to students all the time, if you can't do the little things well, how can you expect to do the big things well? The little things are your English quotes from memory, and for content-based subjects, your syllabus points, statistics, all of the foundational content. If you can't do the little things well, how can you expect to do the big things well? The HSC is a momentum game, and building up towards being prepared for these exams, we need momentum. So if you're coming out of graduation with low momentum, what we need to be doing there is building confidence and competence and certainty around that foundational content. That's what's going to give you the momentum to move into the more difficult tasks. I've worked with a lot of students leading into exams, and they are freaking out about not being able to write practice essays within the time or without any resources. So if that's you at this particular point, my suggestion is let's go back to basics. Let's make sure that we can easily recall our foundational content from memory, and then the ability to write practice essays will naturally flow from there. So the sooner that we can start that active recall, training our brain to be able to recall that content from memory, the sooner we're going to be able to do the bigger things, practice essays and practice exams. Top tip number 2 from me would be we've got to train for the exam room conditions. It's a big set of exams. 50% of your results are going to come from this single exam, or each subject has a single exam. And that's fine. And every student gets through this process every year, and you will as well. But we need to train our brain for the exam room conditions. So at least once per day, and my ideal would be multiple times a day, we are simulating the full exam room conditions. Now, going back to my earlier point, that might be quotes from memory at this point, or one topic syllabus mind map from memory. But we want to create scenarios where you have to say to yourself, ready, set, go. And then write furiously as if you were in the exam at least once a day, ideally multiple times a day. And the sooner you start that, the better. Often students will say, I'm not ready to do that. I'll do that in a week's time. We will run out of time if that is the approach that we take. We need to start that process now. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. And that is that approach will really accelerate your preparedness for the exam room conditions. Start before you're ready. That is the most important idea. Start right now. Whether you are ready or not, that is what's going to accelerate the process of you being ready. Included in what I'm saying there, I can't stress enough the quotes from memory. Writing out all of your English quotes from memory, that's a 10-minute task per day. That will naturally flow into your ability to write practice essays more confidently. So 10 minutes per day, everyone has that time. And topic mind maps from memory, I would be doing 2, 3, 4 of those per day for a maximum of 10 minutes. Ready, set, go. For all of our co-work students, we need to be submitting our draft essays to our team of experienced HSC markers now. We don't want to wait until 72 hours before the exam. By getting the expert feedback now, that is what is going to, again, I've said this before, accelerate the process. The feedback that you're getting will ensure that you are making the appropriate progress. A lot of students will say, I need to get this essay perfect, or I need to read this novel again, or whatever they might be doing. What we need to be doing is practice essays and getting the feedback. Rereading a text, that's just procrastination. It's all about essay writing. And for section 1, reading task comprehension, doing those practice questions, getting the marker feedback, submit that essay, get that marker feedback, rework it, go again. We will get a lot of essays in the last few days leading into the final HSC exams, but the best time to submit those essays is now, and then we can find out where the gaps are, and it's an incremental process of back and forth, back and forth. I would also, tip number, I think we're up to 4, forgive me, is to book your Zoom and Expert session. So for all HSC co-work students, you have the opportunity to book one-on-one sessions with very experienced HSC teachers who have HSC marking experience. Book those one-on-one sessions as soon as possible so that you can make the progress weeks in advance instead of finding yourself 4 days out from the first English paper and then realizing I need some extra guidance. Start that process now. Now, some students say, I don't know what I would ask. Just get on the call and the teacher will work it out with you. We have coaches as well, and they've been through this process. Talking through your challenges with another expert is what's going to accelerate the process. Also, for co-work students, we've got Monday and Thursday Ask a Coach, and with coaches very keen to support you with your specific challenges. So jump on, go through an essay, go through a particular question that you need help with. The coaches are there to support you. My final tip for today, I think we are up to tip 5, is to commit to doing the task that you don't want to do. The success of this final period leading into these final HSC exams can be deduced or reduced down to this idea that your willingness to do the task that you don't want to do will determine your level of success and making the most of these 3 weeks. In the 3 or 4 days leading into the final HSC exams, everyone is willing to do the task that they don't want to do. If you can 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, really commit to attacking those tasks that you don't want to do, that module or that essay that you don't want to do, or that tough maths topic or economics essays, if we can attack those tasks 3 weeks, 2 weeks out, it leaves a lot of time to refine those ideas. But if we avoid the task that we don't want to do, inevitably we're going to run out of time. How do we get the motivation to do the task that we don't want to do? I would be asking myself every single day and possibly writing these ideas down. I personally would definitely write these ideas or respond to these questions every single day. How do I want to feel when I walk out of the exam room for the very last time? So write those ideas down. No doubt you want to say, I did everything that I could, I left nothing on the table, and I'm excited to see my results, or I did really well in the exam. The second question I would be asking is, what do I not want to do right now? And attack that particular task. And then the third question I would ask is, when the results come out on December 18th, what tasks will I be glad that I did in those 3 weeks leading into those exams that allowed me to see this number. We're in this final home stretch, team. It has been a marathon. We're climbing a very large mountain, but we didn't come this far to only get this far or to only come this far. We must keep on pushing. And if you can bring it home strong and attack all of those tasks that you don't want to do on a consistent basis and connect to those ideas around the benefits, rewards, feelings, options, opportunities that await you at the top of Mount HSC, that is what's going to give you that drive to do those tasks that you don't want to do. Or for HSC co-work students, always feel free to book a call with me. If you need a motivation boost, if you need a strategy session, I would love to work with you just to make sure that we can brainstorm all of those aspects that will allow you to walk out of that exam room for the very last time and say, I did everything that we could and have no regrets. And that, of course, is the mission for everyone. I look forward to seeing you on the around the offices, seeing you online, submitting your work and seeing the markers give you that feedback. And if you want that extra support, don't hesitate to book a call with me. Have a good one and speak soon.